Hey everyone, welcome back to my beautiful tier list chart. Graphic design is my passion, made by Cara, age 25. Ooh. In the past 5 years since Crusader Kings 3 has come out, there have been a lot of DLCs that have released. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to take a look at all of the Crusader Kings 3 DLCs and see which ones are actually worth buying or otherwise acquiring. Yes, I see your comments. I know. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are more meh. I'm not saying that my opinion is objectively right, but I am saying that it might as well be. I'm kidding. Starting with the very first one that ever came out, Passion of the Abbasid Court. This DLC, basically just a clothing pack, came out very shortly after the game was released. Please move out of the way. My thing with all of the clothing packs is that, like, some of the clothes can look pretty nice, but it's more just personal preference and it doesn't really add too much to the game. So I would consider all of the clothing stuff pretty skippable. I mean, some of these fails are pretty nice. I know my characters wear some of these pretty often, but for all of the clothing stuff, is it really necessary? Probably not. I'll say clothing jail. As weird as that might be, no rankings. It's just personal preference, I think. I'm here to talk more about the gameplay and stuff. This guy looks so depressed. He's just there like sadness and darkness. Now that they're all sequestered off in clothing jail, we never need to talk about them ever again. They're fine, and that's about it. First of all, we have Northern Lords, which was a flavor pack for Vikings, basically. They gave you a lot of events to do with being like a raider and being a Varangian. Overall, it's pretty fun, even if it's, you know, pretty obvious and simple. It didn't add anything super groundbreaking. Like, oh, you can hold a Grand Blot, create Varangian veterans. Ah, you have the Adventure Dynasty Legacy. Pretty fun, didn't overcomplicate it, just provided some simple features. I like it enough to where I'm gonna put it in A tier. Like, I think it's actually pretty good, and it is actually a fair amount of fun, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. The DLC we have after that is Royal Court, which added the court system as well as a bunch of artifacts and stuff, I believe. So this one came out a couple years later. It added a bunch of court mechanics, artifacts, gave you the actual court. Right now there's this really annoying bug where it keeps on double counting people's rankings in terms of like where they belong over here. So it'll be like you're number 200,000 in the world, and like all the other 999 other spots are taken up by one empire. It's strange, but I do like the court system. It definitely grew on me over time. I also like all of the artifacts that you can get. I think it adds a ton to the game, and it also ties into a lot of other parts of CK3 too, especially at this point. I think it's pretty fun, and I also think it's a pretty critical DLC. I remember being sort of middling on it when it first came out, but at this point I think it's just so important that you have to have it, you know? I think I'll actually put it in A tier for it now. I might change my mind on that later. Alright, next up we have Fate of Iberia. It was a flavor pack that added the struggle system for the Reconquista. They did a decent job with like adding the flavor in the area, but the way that the struggle system works honestly just annoys the hell out of me. I think the way that the phases work and like the sort of endings that you can get are a little bit contrived, but I do like a lot of the flavor that they added. I do think a lot of the events, they added these Dynasty Legacies too, huh? I think those are pretty cool. The part that I really don't like is the whole struggle system, because I feel like it's like, I don't really understand it. I feel like it's overly contrived. Actually managing to get one of these endings is like awkward and annoying. I'm just not a big fan of the struggle system in general, to be honest. I know some people like it. I think it adds a lot of flavor to the game, but I just think the way that you have to do it is sort of annoying. So Fate of Iberia, I'm actually gonna give a D. I'm sorry. Just a flavor pack. The struggle system is annoying though. Next up we have Friends and Foes, which is an event pack based on making friends, the rival system. It really doesn't add too much, and it's not trying to add too much. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that just like the packs that are only events ever go over very well, because it feels like so little content compared to the actual mechanics and stuff that you get from some of the other DLCs. For what it's trying to be, I think it's okay, but like how much do you care about events just for the sake of having events, you know? It adds the feud system, which is cool. I just don't think it's that much content. Ugh. Tours and tournaments. Tours and Tournaments is the one that added the tournament features. It also added traveling, which is like a really cool feature in CK3. I think traveling came with like the update that came along with it, but I would still consider it a part of the update itself. Yeah, so you can host tournaments, you can have grand weddings, which is pretty cool. You can also murder a bunch of people in your weddings. Yeah, I do think it adds a fair bit to CK3. Traveling around especially is like a really cool thing that this DLC brought to the game. We need to like look out for dangers and you need to make sure that you like travel around and stuff. Just joining tournaments, doing that sort of thing. Just purely for the fact that it added traveling. Pretty major expansion. It changed it from CK2 a fair bit too. Really good replayability, and it changed the whole direction of CK3. I think it does something a lot more fluid and a lot more fun. So this DLC, I'm actually gonna give the first honor of S and put it all the way up here. On its own, I think it's fine, but the fact that it also added traveling, the fact that it like changed the direction of CK3, I think it deserves to be up in S tier. Alright, well, we'll continue ranking more DLCs, but first, if you're the sort of player who likes to get into the roleplay of their campaigns, developing intricate stories, and really getting into the weeds of the lore of your campaigns in CK3, or if you're working on any sort of story that requires a lot of organization, you should check out today's sponsor, World Anvil. Honestly, it can be a game changer for how you approach story creation in general. World Anvil is this insanely robust world building and organization platform, basically like a wiki. Rebuilt the web of your story, and it has a lot of features like the interactive maps feature, where you can upload your own map and turn it into this clickable living document where every plot line is tracked to a detail. Plus, their Chronicles tool lets you plot events across timelines simultaneously. They've also got character sheets, family trees, a full manuscript editor if you want to write your Dynasty saga. It's basically everything you need to turn your story into an actual story you can share, or just hoard for yourself like a lore goblin. And here's the best part. If you use my coupon code HeyCara at worldanvil.com, or use my link in the description and pinned comment below, you can get 51% off any yearly membership, which is a huge deal. Once again, that's worldanvil.com. Use coupon code HeyCara to get 51% off any yearly membership, or use my link in the description and pinned comment below. And thank you to World Anvil for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to ranking all of these DLCs. Alright, now we do have a fair few more DLCs to go through, so let's see what the next one is. After this one, they must have followed up with something pretty good, right? But instead, we got Wards and Wardens. I think this is actually one that they let the community vote on, what they wanted the focus to be in an event pack for, and surprisingly, they actually picked childhood. I think this one is where they introduced the infamous beating event. You can go to university, which has become one of my favorite activities you can do, especially since you can travel around a bunch. Look at this guy's face. It's really not my favorite. I feel like it didn't add that much. Again, it's pretty cheap. It's just an event pack. I feel like for what it's trying to do, it's fine. I'd say that it's so mid that it deserves to be perfectly mid. I'll put it right into B tier. Mostly because I like going to university. That's like the main thing I like about it. Exchanging hostages is pretty pointless though. Like I basically never do it unless I'm like super worried about someone. Next up, we have the Legacy of Persia flavor pack. I do like Legacy of Persia a lot more than Fate of Iberia. I feel like it adds a lot more content. It adds Zoroastrian. It adds all sorts of different paths you can take Persia down. I feel like it's basically the same thing, but they just went about it better, I think. Like, it's not like one of the main packs or anything, but I really do like how they did it. I think they made the Persia region somewhere where you actually want to play. I still don't like the struggle mechanic, just in general. So I'm going to put it in B tier just because of the struggle mechanic, which I still don't like that much, but otherwise it's pretty good, I think. Next up, in 2024, they released Legends of the Dead, which, as you can see, a lot of people still really don't like. But what did it do? It added legends, and it added the plague system, which is crucial for simulating the medieval world. I don't know why people always complain about it. I don't know why people are so upset. People don't like that the medieval ages had plagues and diseases and people died. Paradox should pay me for enabling this DLC. Only get this if you want your game to be less less fun. I ended up getting a game over because a plague spawned and killed my ruler and heir within 2 years. All I have to say is skill issue. I'm gonna be brave and put this in A tier. I feel like I really like the plague system in CK3. No, it's not perfect, but nothing is. You name one thing that's perfect, that's what I thought. I actually like seeing the Black Death be terrifying as shit and then sweep across the map and then wipe out like half of your court and all of your characters. And then the moment you're like, oh my god, no, all my characters. And it's like this big dramatic thing, but then like you learn to prepare for it. You build hospitals and stuff. You learn to value the pain and all the suffering. I think it's pretty good. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think the legend system is like, I think it does add a fair bit to the game, even if it's just like randomly generated, you know? Now we're on to Roads of Power. Came out last year, which added a lot of flavor to the Byzantine Empire. It also added traveling adventures and also noble estates. It does add a pretty crazy amount of content to the game. Just like the amount of replayability you have goes up a ton. If like you lose all of your land, you play as a wanderer and take your camp around and do all sorts of random side quests and try to get your land back. You can play as all sorts of new characters. They added a bunch of historical figures, a bunch of new plot lines, a bunch of special events, all sorts of random characters you can meet and interact with. And it includes a bunch of flavor for the Byzantine Empire too, like restoring the Roman Empire, which I do still need to do. So yeah, Roads to Power, I like it a lot. I like it so much that I'm actually going to put it in S tier for the sheer value and replayability alone. They cooked pretty hard with this DLC, I think. It just had so much content to the game. It does make it run kind of slow, but that's a price I am willing to pay. Are you? Next up, we have Wandering Nobles. Basically just an event pack that adds the wandering lifestyle. There's not much to it, but it adds some monument expeditions, some more events around it. I do like traveling personally. Even me, for as much as I like traveling, it's still only like a B. I think it's like decent. I just personally like a lot of the content they added around traveling. But yeah, I don't think it's like that great or anything. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Now, I think we're getting pretty close to reviewing all of the DLCs that they've put out. Medieval Monuments. I think this deserves to be in clothing jail, even though it's not really clothing. It's a building clothing, I guess. Does that make any sense? No, not really. Okay, it's fine. After that, we have Cons of the Steppe, which was the big Nomad DLC that came out back in April. I did like Cons of the Steppe a fair bit. I like all of the Nomad mechanics. Why are people upset about it? I thought this one was like pretty good and like an obvious slam dunk. Basically, I thought this one was an obvious expansion in the same way that Northern Lords was. Very simple, adds a lot of flavor to playing as nomads, makes them worth playing instead of just like tribal and weird. Adds Genghis Khan, adds Conquerors. Conquerors are fun, which you can turn off if you don't like them, but I think they're just kind of funny. Why are people so upset? Trash DLC, you can't hold nomadic land as a non-nomad. Well, you couldn't in real life either. Like you had to develop it. So if you play as someone bordering the steppes, your vassals will start conquering these nomadic holdings, which results in non-stop rebel factions that don't have a cooldown nor military power limit. Bond with strong men-at-arms and strong generals, which makes them hard to stack wipe. If you accept their demands, you lose a level of fame. And you can't tribalize their holdings if they belong to a vassal. It seems no one playtested this DLC before release. Skill issue. Yeah, I like it a fair bit. Guys, you gotta develop the steps if you're trying to take it. Yes, you might have to like encourage your vassals to develop it because they're not gonna want to do it themselves. Like, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. Dude, I'm running out of space, but I would put it here somewhere in A. I would put it, yeah. I would seriously put it over here somewhere in A. Along with like Northern Lords, I think it's basically the same sort of thing. I liked it a lot. I don't know what people are tripping about. Oh no, it's like difficult and it makes me sad. Like, you don't think people are saying that in real life? You don't think people were actually sad back then? Are you kidding me? And the final release one, unfortunately, is Coronations, which is maybe the worst DLC CK3 has ever put out, especially in terms of reception to it. It's overwhelmingly negative for a reason. It just doesn't add that much. Apparently it was super broken when it came out. The activities and stuff that it adds are fine, but it also gives CK3 a really bad look. And I don't think it's that much content either. It's sort of just like event spam that you have to go through at the beginning of every reign. It causes a memory leak apparently. I don't know if that's true. Very great. I made an oath to consolidate my empire. Shortly after, the decision to do that disappeared. Obliterated my legitimacy and prestige. Thanks, 10 out of 10 DLC. That's really funny. Honestly, it's the sort of thing that I'm gonna turn off. It's really not good at all. I just don't want to have to go through mandatory event spam at the beginning of every raid. I don't know, that's just me. I think the coronation itself is kind of interesting, but to do that every time too, I think there's just like a fundamental design flaw that I would disagree with. I'll put you over here. I do think this is pretty accurate so far. I am a glazer, but I do think these ones are all pretty worth getting. Let me actually adjust this. I think I was a bit too kind to wards and wardens. I also think I was a bit too kind to rail court. It's good, but it's not that good. Like it's pretty good. Cons of this step, I can finally put you somewhere where you make sense to be good enough. Oh, it's so low res. Look at it. It's fine. So yeah, that's all of the DLCs that have been released. But there is one more that's coming out soon. All Under Heaven. The store page looks so sad right now. All Under Heaven is the big expansion coming out sometime in Q4, I think. That expands out the map to Asia, including China, Japan. Like basically that whole side of the map that previously you had to use mods to get to. There's a lot to it that's a part of it. I'm gonna kind of like desaturate it. Obviously this isn't, you know, it's not out yet, but I am one of the few people who's been able to play some of it so far. Obviously I can't say anything about it yet, like literally nothing. Besides for the fact that I like it. I'm okay with it being up here. I'm pretty confident it'll stay up there when it comes out. I like it a fair bit from what I've seen. So yeah, that's where I'll leave this video. I think this is pretty fair, honestly. A lot of them are pretty good. I think everyone complaining about Legends of the Dead is a skill issue. Yeah, that's where I'll leave this video. Thank you a bunch for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love.